What is going on, everybody? Jonathan here with Gig Nation. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't checked out the Facebook group yet, make sure to join that, where we talk about everything related to the gig economy. Today, we're going to be looking at a little bit more of DoorDash. Now, obviously, they just released that new pay model, and I've been doing a lot to kind of test it out to see what the thresholds are. And one of the things I've been looking at is acceptance rate, because DoorDash has been sending me a lot of these lower offers. I've been getting a lot of $2, $3, $4, $5 offers. And quite frankly, that is below my threshold for acceptance rate. For me, it's just not worth picking those up. So I've just been declining them. And in the process, I decided to kind of accept just the best orders and see how low I could let that acceptance rate go. Now, before I get into this, I just want to make a quick disclaimer. I don't actually recommend letting your acceptance rate get as low as mine because my acceptance rate has gotten all the way down to 3%. That's right, 3% of orders that come my way I've accepted. And quite frankly, that's not necessary for a lot of people. You don't need to be rejecting 97% of offers just to be, getting decent offers coming your way. But you do need to figure out, what is worth your time, what type of pay per mileage you want to get, and what makes sense for your business, because it is a personal business. And so if you're accepting offers that are too low, you're just not going to be making that much money, and it's not going to be worth your time. But it definitely isn't necessary to get all the way down to 3%. I've definitely had a ton of good offers come my way that I just rejected just to kind of see what happened. So I could definitely, play a much higher acceptance rate and still be doing well personally, still be getting good enough offers to make it worth my time. All right, so now that we got that disclaimer out of the way, let's take a look at exactly how my acceptance rate got this low. So with the old pay model, DoorDash had much more consistent offers coming your way. You definitely got a lot, that was always at that like $6 mark or above, at least here in Seattle. I know it's different by location. Some areas were lower, some were maybe even higher. But with this new pay model, there's really just a huge gap between the highest paying orders and the lowest paying orders. So I see a lot of stuff that's like $2, $3, or $4. And then I've gotten stuff as high as $27 for a single offer. So by rejecting those lower paying offers, I get more of the higher paying offers, but I do spend more time waiting around for those offers. And it was important for me to look into DoorDash's deactivation policy before I got too deep here, because I recognize that I'm an independent contractor. DoorDash also does. So they, in their deactivation policy, they let you know exactly what can get you deactivated, and it talks about acceptance rate in there. So there's a couple other things that you actually have to look out for. Your customer ratings, if they get too low, they can get you deactivated, and your completion rate can also get you deactivated. So if you're accepting orders and then you're not finishing them, that's a reason for deactivation. And every market has a separate threshold. So if you actually look up the DoorDash deactivation policy, I'll leave a link down below. There will be links within it to see what the different thresholds are. It kind of differs depending on where you're at. So a different completion rate is necessary to maintain, depending on where you're at. But the deactivation policy actually goes into acceptance rate, and it talks about, dashers, how they are allowed to decline offers, and what some of the reasons for that might be. They recognize that dashers do also work on other platforms, but then they have a couple caveats, and they let you know that if you're dashing and you remained paused for too long, they will log you out of the app. Or if you're dashing and you're just ignoring offers, you're not giving a reason for decline, and it looks like you've just accidentally left your app on, then they're possibly going to log you out as well. And that's, perfectly reasonable. DoorDash is trying to get food to their customers as fast as possible. So if you're, just leaving your app on and not looking at it, then you're kind of affecting their business model. You're not allowing their customers to get their food quickly, and it could have a negative impact. When I'm dashing, I always try and decline, as quickly as possible, within reason, because sometimes I'm getting these offers while I'm driving, and obviously the more important thing here is safety. But I do try and decline quickly because I do recognize there is a customer on the other end, so you don't want to keep that order waiting for them. But there's one other interesting point here in the deactivation policy, and that is that you actually could potentially get deactivated for having an extremely low acceptance rate. And what DoorDash says is that this could potentially be fraud. Maybe you're manipulating the system, or you're doing something else deceptive by having that low of an acceptance rate. And personally, I didn't quite understand what that meant. I don't know how you can really manipulate offers by having a low acceptance rate, but maybe there's something going on here that I'm missing for some reason. And for whatever reason, DoorDash kind of holds the right to deactivate you. And so personally, I have not been deactivated for having a super low acceptance rate, but I also don't plan on keeping it at 3% forever. I think it's going to build up above that. I just wanted to dip lower and see how low that could get. But I did feel like this was an important topic to address because I do hear a lot from Dashers out there, and maybe they're people that are just new to DoorDash or are more concerned about their ratings and how they might affect them as a Dasher. And they're always talking about acceptance rate and wondering, does having a super low acceptance rate affect me? Can it get me deactivated? Or am I going to get sent less orders my way because of this? Now, there is nothing in the DoorDash policy that says anything about sending less orders to Dashers with low acceptance rates. I don't think this is a thing. And in my personal experience, I still get a lot of orders coming my way with that low acceptance rate. So I don't see why that would be a thing. I can see why people would question it because, there's always some concern with if I'm a lower performing Dasher, maybe I'm not going to get the orders that I want. But remember that with DoorDash's current model, they actually have a top Dasher rewards program. And at the moment, acceptance rate's not even factored into that. So it doesn't look like something that they're placing a ton of concern on, and something that's incredibly all that important to DoorDash. And so just to reiterate that, I've been sitting at a fairly low acceptance rate, lower than 10% for the past couple of weeks. And I've still been getting a lot of offers. I've been getting the same, low offers and high offers coming through. And it hasn't really been something that I've noticed in any way, shape, or form. There was a period this last Saturday when I kind of started to question it, and I actually went a full hour without accepting a single offer. Now, there's no period of time when I would ever naturally do this, so it's not something I would expect to run into, but I was just seeing a ton of low offers, and I was kind of trying to test the acceptance rate, see how low I could get it and see if it affected me. And during that time period, I was just straight declining everything. I never let my orders go past me without giving a reason to decline. So there was no reason for me to get logged out of the app. But I did notice like 2 points in time when I just stopped receiving orders for like a solid 10-15 minutes. And this was Saturday at like 5 or 6 p.m. So it was a point in time when you normally expect to be seeing a lot of offers coming your way. Now, while that was a little bit unusual, I do still think that my acceptance rate really had nothing to do with it. And that's because it's not in DoorDash's policy, and it's not something that I normally see. And it's not a circumstance that you're normally going to be in when you're just sitting on the app, not accepting anything for an hour straight. So normally when I'm out there like in a normal activity, being on the app, and I might decline a few in a row before I find one to accept. In that sort of circumstance, I'm always getting offers assuming that I'm logged on during a dinner time hour, and I haven't noticed any side effects related to that acceptance rate. So let me know down below what your acceptance rate is. I'd love to hear from you what your threshold is for accepting offers, because everyone obviously has to set that. The best way to go is to kind of figure out what you want your pay to be per mileage, because that's a big factor there. You can kind of tell how long it's going to take based on the mileage, and also the mileage is one of your biggest expenses as a Dasher. So just taking that total payout that you see up front and then dividing it by the miles and seeing if it meets that threshold is kind of the best way to go. So let me know if you've set one of those down below as well. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for future updates. And if you're looking for other gig economy or app related jobs, make sure to check out gigsharks.com. I've been working really hard on this website to try and gather all of the different opportunities out there and just put them into one place by city. So make sure to go ahead and check that out.